Hello, 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 friends, and welcome to IHKC Live. I don't know if you figured this out. I think I just figured this out, but I like to dance to the kickoff music. So that's how we've been kicking these off lately. And it's fun. I hope you'll join me next time. But my name is Lauren Conaway. I am founder and CEO of InnovateHER KC, and you are joining us for IHKC Live. Hi, Orlana. How are you? I see that you are talking about the Puerto Rico the Women's We Mean Business Summit, and that is awesome. I'm so excited to see what the conference planners have cooked up this year. So for those of you who don't know, Innovate Her KC is a leadership community. We serve women and individuals of marginalized gender experience, and we have a lens on inclusion and low barrier to entry. We serve over 6,400 members across the KC Metro, and we do so through programming, social events, professional and leadership development, and then we have some initiatives that we run around town to champion and support our members. So if you'd like to join, please do so. We would love to have you. And I will try to remember to come back, or maybe our wonderful executive producer, Cynthia, might pop in here with a link to join Innovate Her KC. I can see her reacting to what I'm saying. She's got a big smile on her face. Thank you, Cynthia. You are wonderful. So, what is IHKC Live? Every other week, we have a discussion about issues of the day, issues that impact women plus leaders, challenges that we experience, barriers. We have some serious talks, we have some fun talks. But today, we are going to have a fabulous talk because we have with us Cynthia Fails, aka the voice of goddess, aka the Joy Sherpa, aka IHKC Live's executive producer. Cynthia, if you want to, hey, there she is.
Hey.
Hey. So we're going to be having a conversation about self-care.
Yeah.
July, I don't know if y'all know, we had our monthly meetup today, but July is Disability Awareness Month. And so we try to focus our programming for the month around issues that are timely. And we wanted to find a way to talk about some of the things that affect us as leaders. And so self-care is a huge one, and it's very much related to mental anxiety, depression, burnout, all of these things that we talk about. And
Mhm.
a lot of people, the kinds of strategies that we're going to be talking about, a lot of people, they experience these things as part of being neurodivergent, neuroatypical, however you want to say it. But we wanted to spark up a conversation. A little bit later, we will share some of the events that we have coming up where we're going to be furthering that conversation. We've got some really good ones. I'm excited. And I know Cynthia is too. We talked on Monday and kind of planned out, and we were just like, this is going to be awesome. But keep an ear out for those. In the meantime, hi, Cynthia.
Hey, can we say hello to Jennifer first?
We absolutely can. Hello, Jennifer. How are you, friend? Yeah, definite friends. Keep the comments coming. We love to know that you're here and watching. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your comments and thoughts, particularly as we get into the meat of the conversation. But we've said hello to Jennifer, and now I'm going to say hello to Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that you're here. I love it when it's just the two of us because I have so much fun talking to you.
I'm nervous. I'm
Why are
nervous.
you nervous?
I'm just kidding.
Don't be nervous. Like, we
I'm
do
just
this all the
kidding.
time.
We do regularly.
All right. So, do we have any quirky questions? Friends, that's
We
the first thing
do.
that we do.
We do. The quirky questions are not as quirky, and they're kind of geared towards today's topic of self-care.
All right. Oh,
'Cause
hi,
that's what I
Rachel
do.
Blankenship. It's good to see
Rachel,
you again.
I missed you this morning.
Yeah, Rachel was at our monthly meetup. Oh yeah, so July is Disability Awareness Month. Our monthly meetup was actually at the Golden Scoop, which is a local nonprofit ice cream shop that employs folks with disabilities with dignity and without exploitation, paying a fair wage, meaningful work, fun work.
Yeah,
We actually got to hear from a couple of the team members, and it was so much fun.
yeah. I'm mad that I missed it. Um,
Well, we'll
I
catch you.
know the vibe. I know the vibe was good. I'm also a little jealous that y'all got to start your day with ice cream because I was out there running 8 miles. So
We sure did. We did exactly the opposite of
you
how
did.
I actually bought a container of sprinkles. I was like, I want them. Like,
There you
I
go.
just want sprinkles. Good morning. Happy breakfast.
Right? Right.
But see,
Okay.
that is actually something that I have learned through what, well, through many people, but through watching you. You know, you are
Yeah.
unapologetic in the things that bring you joy.
That's
And
the first question. Have you seen these, Lauren?
I have not. I have not. And we did not even game plan. We never,
No.
I don't know if y'all can tell, but we never game plan around these. We just kind of hop up on
Doing it.
screen and work our way through it.
All right. So the first question, again, these are not very quirky. They're geared towards the topic of self-care today, since that's what we're talking about. But what brought me joy today?
All right. I mean, my answer is very simple. I got to start my day with incredible people, some of our
Yeah.
InnovateHER KC members at this monthly meetup. We got to support a business that I believe in and think is so important and fun. And, you know, we got sprinkles. So sprinkles
Yeah.
is like my micro answer. And then the monthly meetup this morning is my macro answer.
There you go. I
Yeah.
love it. For me, gosh, there's so many things now I'm thinking about it. So many things that brought me joy. We're gonna say hello to Crystal.
Crystal! Pretty Planner Company, my friends. I have not taken the plunge yet because every time I go to the website, I start playing with the stuff that I want, and it's very distracting. But
Oh my God.
definitely check out Crystal, and yeah, just definitely check out Crystal, Pretty Planner Company,
Yeah, there you
and
go.
keep it. She's like, hey now, keep your questions, comments coming. But a lot of things
Absolutely.
brought you joy today.
Yeah, a lot of things brought me joy. I'm curious what those of you who are watching, what brought you joy today. Drop that in the comments as well so that we can celebrate and feel your joy. But today I got to run the furthest distance I have been thus far. So I was a little apprehensive about it. 8 miles sounds like a lot when you're running it. It feels like a lot,
Feels
but I
like a
did
lot
it.
when you're running.
Yeah. But I did it.
Both
So
at the
I
same
was,
time.
yeah, there was a lot of joy when I was coming around that last half mile and realizing that I was about to hit the farthest distance for myself. So that brought a lot of joy. But then I think what brought me the most joy so far today was interacting with one of our authors. I got to do an author video shoot today with Brittany Duncan. And Brittany has a book that's coming out here in a couple of weeks. And so we were chatting about the origin of her book and just watching her hold the book and flip through the pages with what was once an idea and is now something that is real that other people get to read and share with those they love. I think it was just awesome. It's hard to put it into words.
Do you feel, did you just feel like super rooted in your purpose? Is that what was so
Yeah,
joyful about it?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So friends, for those of you who don't know, Cynthia are, in addition to being like 8 million things, is the founder of Launch Crate Publishing, and so it is
Yeah.
Cynthia's job to help authors, particularly women and authors of color,
Mhm.
to sell their stuff better and be better writers and
Yeah.
promote their things, and you know, how to get equitable and fair treatment in the process, all of these things.
Yeah.
And so
All of the things.
yeah, I love that is at the core of, it's not just what you do, it's the core of who you are.
It really is. Yeah.
This perfect marriage of everything that you believe and want and like, and so
Yeah.
you're very rooted in your purpose. But today, like, interacting with the author was just kind of
It
a
was so
reflection of
dope.
that.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
Yeah,
It was so
for sure.
awesome.
Well, and I mean, that's how I feel at Innovator Monthly Meetups, because like I look around the room and I'm like, I am not responsible for the awesomeness of these
Yeah.
women, but I do get a ground floor view for
Hmm.
sure, like a really close one. And I get to like, I just get to see the badass women doing kick-ass things. And like,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things to do. So yay.
So Rachel shared something that I think
Ah,
is pretty cool. It
I,
might add to your joy, honestly. Her extended visit with friends after the meetup. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. And what was really cool for me, and I did actually notice this, I had to jet because I had a 10:30 meeting and I had to be home. And so the meetup ended at 10. So I kind of out the door. And
Hmm.
but the funny thing was is like a lot of the people who were like they were still there. They were just hanging out chatting and I'm like this is what we want. Like this is the vibe. Keep the connection going.
Yeah,
And so yeah, like once again it's like yeah, it worked exactly as we intended it to. And I
that's
didn't even
good.
have to be there. So yeah,
That's
I love
that's
it when
what it
that
should be.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it should
like
be.
perfect alignment. All right, I love that
Awesome.
question.
I
We'll
should have
rock
saved that one for last.
it.
That was a perfect softball, though. Okay. I have options here. So I'm
Which
gonna
one is
ask
the
you
weirdest?
the weirdest.
Yeah, what's the weirdest?
They're not really weird
All
today. I mean, let me ask you
right.
this one. Where have I never been that I'm dying to go? Answer that for you, not for me.
Yeah, so many places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really difficult question. Okay. A lot of my answers change according to my whim.
Okay.
Like, so right now, right this very moment, I'm feeling Italy. I've never been. I would love to go. I'm feeling very under the Tuscan sun. I don't know if you all have
Hmm.
seen it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm feeling right now. Like, let's just check it all and go buy a farm in southern Italy. Like, I don't even know. But that's what I'm feeling right now.
Gotcha.
How about you?
Huh. I have always wanted to go to Fiji.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
crystals with me. Uh,
Yeah, she is.
uh.
Yeah. I mean, Italy sounds great, honestly.
I would
Give
just
me
like
give me by the water somewhere and I'll probably be fine.
yes, by the water and like
Yeah.
so much food, so much eating. Like that it would
Hmm.
be that would be my eating vacation, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like this is a really great monument, but can I have some more pasta? Like would you just serve it directly to my face? Like that would be great.
Where did where did I learn this? Maybe oh, that might have been at one of the Keystone sessions last week. I just learned that Florence, no, Venice, Italy, is putting a cap on the number of um, visitors that come each year because they have more tourists than they do people who live there. So I don't know if Venice is where you're interested in
So,
going. If it is, put your name in now.
well, no, so
If not,
what actually kicked it off was the
hmm
fact that I read an article and it circulates periodically that Italy is actually like paying stipends and offering incentives to people
hmm
to get them to move there because apparently they've just had a really big issue with population decline. And so they're trying to make the administrative and bureaucratic process to
yeah,
immigrate. They're trying to make it easier and they're trying to offer incentives. And I'm just like, so you're telling me that they're going to
right.
make it easy for
They
me
have
to live
Wi-Fi.
under the
They
Tuscan
have
sun life?
they have
Like that,
Wi-Fi in Italy.
yeah. And so like
I
that,
couldn't
so
do
Aaron
this
and I
job
were
in here.
actually talking about that. And I was just like, so like, you want to just chuck it all and grow some grapes? I don't know.
Right,
Like,
right. Nice. Check this out.
hey, Kristen. So see, all
Hmm.
right. Well, right now, like this was not a competition originally,
It
but now
wasn't.
I
It
have
wasn't.
Crystal on my side and you have Kristen on yours. So
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like, do we need a tiebreaker, y'all? We don't have to tie.
I want to hear their answers.
I know, right?
Italy, Fiji,
Where
where
else?
else?
Where
Where
else?
would you like to go? But you've been dying to go. Drop that in the comments. Okay. Last question, Lauren.
Okay.
What scares you and how does that hold you back?
Oh,
We're
I
tapping into self-care. We might
you
as well
get
be
to go
honest.
first on this one.
No,
And you've
uh-uh.
seen the questions. You've had more lead time than I have,
I
and I'm
I
vamp for
literally
you.
as I hit the 30-second countdown, I was like, let's find some questions.
All right, fine. My
Uh-huh.
argument holds no water, but one of these days
Hmm.
you're gonna go first.
Okay, so you think about it, and I'm gonna read Jennifer's answer while you're thinking about that
You
question.
butthead. All right,
Jennifer,
fine.
Jennifer. Southern Italy. You have to stay there for 3 years and renovate. That must align with what it is that you are talking about in the article that you read. I
Yes.
could do Southern
Well,
Italy.
and I was
I could
definitely
do
just
it.
sharing the like I read the
Definitely could
headlines,
renovate.
the medium
Uh-huh.
version.
Yep. I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Also, Austria. She would like
Ooh.
love to go to Austria.
So I just see, I just read something. I read a lot of weird stuff,
I
but
mean,
I
you
just
read a lot. That's a good thing though,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So I just read I think Vienna, it was
Hmm.
just named like the number one most habitable city in the world. And they like track it across a lot of different metrics, but like the livability index, which is like cost of living and crime and things like that, as well as like the happiness of residents. So it just made some like top 10 list, top best place to live in the world. So that's my fun
Interesting.
fact. I just wanted to
Hmm.
share.
I'm
Oh, damn
I'm
it.
I'm wondering for whom.
Oh, why I'm sharing my fact?
No, nope. I'm just wondering like who they were polling.
I mean, I don't know. Have you been? Like, I don't know enough to argue.
No.
I'm just like,
Mm-mm.
I think
I just thought, yeah, I
they
don't
have
know what my
wants
experience would be like over there.
yeah. Uh,
Okay,
all right.
was that enough time? What scared
Nope.
you?
But I'm gonna plunge ahead anyway. I'm just
Okay.
here's the thing about being like a podcast host and doing stuff like this. I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna talk off the cuff, and if I sound like
Yeah.
an idiot, que sera, sera. Okay. So what am I scared of? And then how do I
Mhm.
overcome it?
How does it hold you back?
How does it hold me back? Okay. So one of the things, this is really interesting. I know. Thank you, Rachel. I did want out of answering the fear question. Am I so transparent? Uh, no. What? All right. So I
Jennifer, that's
actually, this is a
hilarious.
serious answer. This is actually a serious answer, and it comes from some self-reflection that I've done lately.
Okay.
I actually have like this kind of insidious fear of failure. And
Mm,
I think that like sometimes I sabotage myself because I always expect that like people who live with trauma and who have legitimate like PTSD and anxiety and
yeah.
depression, like all of the things that we're talking about, like I'm clinical in this. And so sometimes I find it really, really difficult to believe that I A deserve good things and B that I will actually be able to secure good things. Like I'm always kind of
Mm,
waiting for the other shoe to drop. And
mm-hmm.
that's just like a very high anxiety thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do like sometimes I have to talk myself out of self-sabotaging and like identify the problem. Like you're not
Yeah.
just procrastinating, you are actually throwing a wrench in your own positive trajectory. Knock
Yeah.
that shit off. Like I have to have conversations in my head about it. And it
Yeah.
definitely holds me back because I spend so much time either like in the analysis paralysis phase or the fear phase, the anxiety phase that like sometimes I forget to appreciate the positive side, like the flip side.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, like I slow down on opportunities because I don't know that I deserve them. And it's like my rational brain knows that I do. Like I'm a good
Yeah.
person, I work hard, but my reptilian brain, like the fucked up part back there that's still healing and trying to figure out how to overcome trauma, like that
Mm-hmm.
piece that resides somewhere back here. Uh but I just have a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like a visceral relationship to it, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yep.
that is my
Well,
answer.
you are not alone. Jennifer feels the same way, and I do as well.
Yeah.
Um, part of So a lot of times people will say to me that they see me just doing all this stuff and like plowing ahead, right? But
Yeah.
part of where that came from is me understanding that I do the same thing. And when I recognize that and I feel that thing, then I do it anyway. And I do it scared. And
Yeah.
I'm
So
like, here we go. I
so
don't know what's
so
on the other side
Jennifer,
of it, but let's see.
I see you, Jennifer, and I
Yeah.
see you, Cynthia. Like I always see you, Cynthia. But so Lene Clayton Robinson, who
Hmm.
is one of our board members, one of the co-founders of Bliss Books and Wine. Like we both know
Yep.
and love Lene. But she gave me a mantra, And I don't even know if she realizes that she did it, but several years ago, I did something really difficult. And it was one of those things where I was continually trying to talk myself out of it. And she was like, all right, I just want you to say to yourself, Lauren, you can do hard things. I can do hard things. Like, I need to
Yeah.
say that. And I think that you just hit on exactly why
Hmm.
that's such a powerful mantra for me, because the fact is, like, I'm always going to be scared. I'm an anxious
Hmm.
person, and it is natural to be scared in uncomfortable, unfamiliar situations. But the point
Absolutely.
is, you acknowledge that it's fucking scary, and then you do it anyway. And the
You do it
only way
anyway.
to get through it is to get through it,
Yeah.
you know? And so,
Yep.
so like sometimes I have to like take it like, you can do hard things and
Hmm.
just do
You
it.
just do it. That's it.
That
Yeah.
sounds like the most useless, like, pithy advice ever, but it's like,
But it's no, but it's the truth.
one foot in front of the other, fucker, just do it.
I mean, right, the real question is, when have you ever let yourself down, right? When have you ever not put yourself in a position where you gave the best that you could and ended up succeeding to the best of your ability?
I mean, I feel like that speaks to failure. And like
Mm-mm.
again, it's a situation where it's like you have to change your so like I actually give a talk called The Myth of the Fearless Leader. It's one of my
Mhm.
keynotes. And like I talk about the fact that you're going to have fear. You just
Mhm.
have to change your relationship to it. And I think that you
Yeah.
need to change your relationship to failure. Like, failure is an acceptable outcome as long
Mhm.
as it's merely a pit stop rather than
Mhm.
a stop of progression, right?
Well, yeah, here's the thing, that does speak to failure, but it also speaks to something much deeper than that, right? And
Yeah.
it's the fact that we know ourselves enough to put ourselves in a position to thrive and survive. And we just have to trust ourselves in that. And so much of that analysis paralysis is us not trusting ourselves. So if we can get outside of our own head and
Yeah.
remember that we put ourselves in positions to succeed, we do hard things, like Renee said, right?
Yeah.
Regularly. Yeah. That
Well,
helps
so,
you
so
to push through
anybody
the
who's
fear.
watching right now, I'm talking to you. You can do hard things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rachel said, when people want you to talk about yourself, it feels self centered. So she stops herself from speaking about all the things that make her her.
This is me giving you a
Same.
virtual hug, Rachel.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like as women,
Hmm.
we have been well, yeah, we have been conditioned to feel like talking about ourselves is bragging, and that's
Yeah.
an unattractive quality. And and above all, we as ladies must be worried about what is attractive to those around us before we are worried about what is important to ourselves. So yeah, like I totally get it. One of the things that I like, and actually we're going really deep on quirky questions, but they actually, like, you're right. Like, these very much speak to what we were going to be talking about anyway.
Hmm.
But like, one of the things that I struggle with is like, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Cynthia. I feel as though a lot of programming for women out there is about that empowerment piece. Like, how do you give
Hmm.
yourself permission to do things
Hmm.
rather than the tactical, this is how you do things.
Hmm.
And so much of it is about unlocking mindsets and affirming oneself. And it totally makes sense
Hmm.
because of how we have been conditioned. Like, more often than
Absolutely.
not, that's the stumbling block.
Yeah.
It's not that like we can't do it, it's that we don't believe ourselves to be capable. And that really frustrates me.
And that sometimes it's not that we don't believe ourselves to be capable. What I've heard from a lot of women is that there is this fear or concern about what other people will think of them when
Yeah.
they are successful, and then what people are going to come for that they have earned or whatever when
Yeah.
they are successful. So, what they'll lose or what they'll potentially lose
Right.
as a result of being successful. So, there are all these other things that have been conditioned into us as well. And yeah, it's just dismantling some of that, challenging those
Yeah.
thoughts that are coming up so automatically now. But yeah.
Yeah, well, and I mean that's the thing. Like it everything feels so insidious because it's your
Mhm,
own mind talking to you, but it's like
mhm.
that, like often for me, it's that pervasive, penetrating, like repetitious thought where like anytime so I'll give you a for instance. Like I recently got accepted into a program to get my EMBA through
Mhm.
Rockhurst University, and I am freaking psyched. I am so excited.
Okay.
But at the same time, I am terrified
Uh-huh.
because I haven't been in a traditional learning environment in 25 years. Like
Mhm,
I did, and not only that, like I didn't finish college the first time. Like I'm actually
mhm.
getting my EMBA without an undergraduate degree, which by the way, they do allow. So weird. Had no idea until pretty recently that they allowed it. But yeah, that's the thing that they do. And so like I feel very imposter syndrome about it.
Yeah.
And every time I think about it, I have to like quell, like push it, like I want to feel the excitement fully, but I can't
Mhm,
because every time I feel like I'll feel the excitement, but then there's this yawning chasm of, oh my God, I can't do
mhm,
this. This is a 2 year
mhm.
commitment. It's so intensive. Like, it's always on the back end of like that positive affirming thought, like way to go,
Yeah.
you did a hard thing. Now, like I mean now the really hard thing begins,
Yeah.
but you know I can't fully enjoy or sit with
You
the
can.
joy. Well,
You can.
I feel as though I can't. And
You
apparent
can.
sorry, apologies for the
Yeah.
dog.
Oh, it's all good. I hear exactly what you're saying, right? But think about where your thought process stopped.
Yeah,
What's on the other side of that? Once you start the program, what support services are going to be there for you? Are there people that you're connected to who might be able to get you connected to other people who can help you when you struggle? Right?
yeah,
There's all of these other things that we can ask ourselves to challenge those thoughts that feel so big and hairy and heavy,
yeah,
but we usually stop before we ask those questions.
yeah,
But asking those questions helps us to get that balance and feel the joy even amongst the fear, right? It's not feeling the joy versus feeling the fear and pushing through the fear. It's feeling them at the same time and having that balance.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so that is why we call you that. Well, I call you. I don't know if anybody else does it, but I'm going to do it until it catches on. Damn it! But this is why I call Cynthia the Joy Sherpa because not only does
Hey.
she feel abundant joy, but she is
Yeah,
able to help people find their own joy and fully
absolutely.
express it. And so it's one of the many things that I adore about you. But look,
I need a shirt with that, the Joy Sherpa.
I know, like I am legitimately I haven't ordered business cards in years, and I'm gonna order you some business cards for
Oh my
IHK.
gosh.
And they're gonna say like all I wanted that, and I'm gonna get some for Alea. I have promised some for Alea because she is our finance and shit manager.
That's perfect.
And I need to see those officially on a business card somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Cynthia Fails, executive producer, IHKC Live, director of programs, and then hey, the Joy Sherpa. Yeah, you're a lot of things.
There it is.
You're so multi-dynamic and multi-dimensional.
I love it. I love it. Get them from Moo.
I
Have you
love
ever gotten anything
carrots.
from
They
Yeah. Oh
feel
my
so
gosh.
good with like
Yeah,
that
the
whatever
quality is
they put on the paper. I actually have this is so funny. The first time I used Moo cards, it was when I was working for Girls Guide to the Galaxy, which was a
uh-huh.
Midwestern blog site. And believe it or not, I was the sex and relationships editor for this blog site, which is like hilarious to me. But the first time I ever got a Moo card, I got this little one, and Cynthia, I still have it. I have it like it has like my picture on it's in my wallet, and I'll pull it out. It is old as hell, but it's such good quality, and like I just love the presentation, and it was such a fun
Yeah,
job that I'm just like, yep, gonna carry it around with me.
absolutely.
So yes, love Moo cards.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's our quirky questions, but
I
you
know,
know,
and we're already
we
like 30 minutes into it, but I
I
feel like
know,
we've
but
kind
yeah,
of
we've
had the
already
conversation
started.
we were meant to have anyway.
Yeah, I think so. We're talking about self-care, right? And pushing through those kind of barriers is absolutely self-care.
Well, so how do you deal with burnout, stress, anxiety, like all of
Mhm.
those negative, because you always have such like a content inner glow. And here's the thing about you, Cynthia. Like I do not notice, like you don't swing wide emotionally. I swing wide. Like I am
Uh-huh.
extremely happy or super joyful, and like I am not scared to express that in my
Yeah.
percentage and my volume. Like you don't swing as wide. Like you have a very strong baseline of content, and then
Yeah.
you glow with joy at times, and sometimes I can tell that you're sad, but like to the
Yeah.
outward observer, you're very, I don't want to say stoic because that's not the right, like you smile a lot, and like you have an expressive face. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Help me fill in the blanks because I can't
Yeah.
express. I'm really,
I was
really
just
trying
gonna
not to
see
be
how
an
far you
ass.
were
Like,
gonna
I'm like,
go.
can
No,
we
I
just
was like, let's see where she
her
goes
off?
with it.
Yeah, like
No,
you're just very like joyfully even. I don't know how to
yeah,
express it better than that.
that is years of unlearning a lot of things that had me on some of those wild swings like that.
Yeah,
And getting to a place where when I feel it starting to bubble up, when I feel burnout coming, I know exactly where I need to go. I know exactly who I need to be around. I know exactly what I need to do internally for me. And that's the one that I usually start with first, right? What are the questions that I need to ask myself?
yeah,
How do I uncover what it is that led me to this place where I'm feeling burnout?
yeah,
How do I stop it so that I don't go over the edge with it? And then who are the people that are in my circle that will surround me and help to fill me back up as
yeah.
I'm filling myself back up? Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
I knew you'd have a great answer for that. You turn it around on me, and I'm like, I don't know.
But that took that, like I said, that was years of unlearning,
Yeah,
years and years of unlearning. Yeah, because so often the idea of there's this thought that Black women have it all together and they're strong and they just push through, and I was taking on all of that, right? Like that is the image that America has of Black
yeah.
women in America, and
Well,
we are
to be
strong,
fair,
but
I was like, I
also
feel like it's kind of the reality. Like you have been
it's
thrust
the
into
reality
circumstances that
because
require
it
that.
has to be, right? It's been the reality because it has to be, but also we deserve a break as well,
Sure.
right? And that message doesn't necessarily get transmitted the way that other messages get transmitted about, wow, look at how strong they are, right? And yes, let's be proud of how strong we are as Black women, as women in general, but also, yes, let's celebrate the pause and take a break.
Just
Right?
just because you can, just because
Yeah,
you have the capacity, doesn't mean that you should always have to. Have you ever
absolutely.
heard of the nap ministry?
Yes.
Okay, so I follow her on
Uh-huh.
Instagram, and that's why, because like one of her catchphrases, and she, I do not remember her name. Please forgive me. Don't at me. But like she's very cool. But like one of her catchphrases is "Rest is a revolution," and like
Yeah.
yeah, that's true because in particular for Black women who have so often had to take up the mantle of activism and holding communities together, and doing so with very little credit, acknowledgement, help, like any of that
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah.
it gets tiring. And so she's like, I'm going to put my stuff down, and that is going to be how I revolt
Yeah.
against these systems that do not serve me. And I'm like, man, that's fucking beautiful. It really is. Like, I mean, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Trish,
you do that as
Trisha
well.
Trisha something. I can't remember. Her last name starts with an H.
Yeah,
I just remember her first name is Trisha. Yeah.
so definitely check out, and I believe it's like at the Nap Ministry
The
on
Nap
Instagram.
Ministry.
And
Hmm.
incidentally, the last time like I actually went to the page to like check the account, she was on a break, and she was like, "This is what we do here, so I will not be posting." I was like, "You hold on to that
I
piece.
love it. I love
You
it.
hold tight to it. Don't let him take it from you." Like
Right.
I had that moment with her. I was like, "Yes."
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, today, like there were some things that I was supposed to be taking care of after that video shoot that I had with the author today.
yeah,
And I was just like, I don't have the energy right now. I can't.
yeah,
I can do it poorly right now, or I can take a break and I can come back and I can do it well later. And
yeah.
I was like, let's just do it well later and we'll be fine.
You want to know what I think is so well? Okay, I'm gonna come at this a different way. I was gonna try to like we're starting a new topic. I had a thought pop into my head, which
Sure.
it happens. So one of the things that I struggle with, or I guess one of the things that I don't think we talk about when we talk about like setting boundaries and
Hmm.
making sure that we are voicing what we need and that all of those things. One of the things that we don't talk about is how we actually need to work. Well, I don't want to tell it. I don't want to should all over anybody, but one of the things I think we need to have conversations about is how do we receive those
Yeah.
boundaries? Because I hear
Yeah.
a lot of people saying set the boundaries, and I'm like, great, but we also need to talk about the fact that like, hey, when I'm talking to you, Cynthia, no is a full sentence. I don't
Hmm.
need to justify myself. Like if I'm setting a boundary, I have a reason,
Yep.
but we need to be receptive to that
Hmm.
information. And like you've set boundaries with me before. And I
Hmm.
don't know if I've ever had to set boundaries with you because you're fucking incredible. But if I had, like, I feel pretty confident that you would be open and you would be, but
Yep.
like, I've had people where I get a lot of DMs. People want to, like, I want to hear more about Innovator. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, but if I did that, I could do that all day long for many
Right.
years and never be done. And so like I'll say no and I'll just be like, hey, this is not a really great time. Reach out in a few months. And then I have people like push at it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
don't do that. I've
Mm-mm.
said it like, I mean, certainly not if you want to be on my good side because you just
No.
rolled right over my boundaries. And
Right.
I'm setting a boundary, like that is not my natural state of being. I want to do everything for everybody. Like if I'm actually
Yeah.
explicitly saying I can take no more, I
Yeah.
really, really mean it. And I'm
Yeah.
going to need you to listen. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you do that? Like, how do you stay receptive to the message, understanding that it's not necessary? It's not, in fact, it's usually not a reflection of you. Right.
Hmm. I it's not a reflection of me. No, it's
Yeah.
somebody else expressing a need. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you're naturally empathetic, and you and I tend to be pretty empathetic, right? I think it's easier for you to stop and reflect on, well, if they're saying this, there's probably something that they need in the
Yeah.
moment, even if they just say no, right? Oh, well, okay, so that's not a good fit here, then, right? It's not
Yeah.
a good fit for whatever reason, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be a good fit. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the right time, right?
Yeah.
It may never be the right time,
Well,
and
and
that's
again,
okay.
it's like that mental unlocking of like giving yourself permission, where
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like we know logically that all of these things are important. We're bombarded
Hmm.
with that information
Yeah.
every day. And the real struggle is not learning that information, it is internalizing it and using it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so
Yeah.
frustrating.
Got a couple of comments here from Justin Strickland.
Yeah. Thanks for chiming in, Justin.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries is important, but you have to receive others' boundaries as well. And it's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And so like, and it's a respect thing, you know?
Yeah.
You don't need to
It
know my
is.
reasons.
No, I like when people share with me that they can't make a meeting and they go on all, like, I'm just like, take care of whatever you need to take care of.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is what it is. It is
exactly.
what it is. If we need to reschedule, we'll reschedule, and we'll reschedule whenever the time is right.
Yeah.
But it has to be right for both of us. It can't be just right for me. Like
Well,
that's not
because
a good fit
if
for
it's not
anybody.
the right time for both of you, it's not your time,
It's
you
not
know?
the time.
For sure.
It's not the time.
And I know
Yeah.
that we are like we can be impatient, like as human beings, we can be impatient, we can be
Hmm.
mercurial, we can be like all of these things. But the fact is, like, if I am truly respectful of who you are,
Hmm.
I just have to know and I have to trust that
Yeah.
things will happen in their time. I am terrible at that, by the way. I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is fantastic advice. Then I'm just going to go home and be like, can we do something right now? Oh,
Will you take your own advice? That's the question.
I think I'm pretty good. I actually think I'm pretty good when other people set boundaries and set
Yeah,
expectations with me, because I would much rather have that communication than not.
yeah,
And so, like, yes, respect. Like, tell me. I'm an input person, so as long as you're keeping me informed,
yeah,
I'm cool.
yeah.
But that being said, like, I'm truly, truly, truly terrible at setting boundaries around my time and my spirit and my energy. And yeah,
Today's a different day, right?
yeah.
You in the past, maybe you were. Maybe today sparks a new change, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe you're different.
Well, and I didn't do shit this weekend, and that was a deliberate choice.
That's
It
a
was something that
boundary.
I needed,
Yes,
but, like, I said no multiple times. I was like, "Oh, you want me to come out on Saturday? Absolutely
there it
not.
is.
I'll see you Thursday."
It's something you're working on. It's something
Yeah,
you're working. Yeah,
that's right. Leadership is a constant evolution.
absolutely, it is.
So what advice, like, I'm really curious about this, because I feel like you cracked it. But so what advice would you give to our watchers, listeners, our audience
Okay.
about creating healthy boundaries? Like, how do we, because I also feel like, speaking back to that self-sabotage thing, like, sometimes I'm
Uh-huh.
like, you put that boundary a little too hard around whatever it was you were trying to protect. So, like, how do you gauge?
I, you just have to feel it out, honestly. You just have to
Damn it,
feel it out.
Cynthia.
You have to know yourself. You have to know what your needs are, and that's a huge one, right?
Yeah.
You have to sit with yourself, have an honest conversation with yourself, not a conversation where you say, I can do this, 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 and this, and this. And then in an ideal world, these are the things that you can know. Like right now, what can you handle?
Yeah.
What do you need help with? Who are the people that can help you with that? What are the services that can help you with that? Is there technology that can help you with that? What do you need? Assess those needs. And if something is going to crash into those needs that you have, that's a clear boundary, right? Yeah. But you have to understand what you need first,
Yeah. Do
which
you know
takes
what
some
you
work.
need?
Yeah, I
What do
do.
you need?
I, to not share my needs on live.
And I acknowledge and honor the boundary that you just set, and we'll move on.
How is that for practice?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
accept what you have said to me, and I birth it into the universe.
I
Is all
love
right.
it.
Anyway.
We're putting it into practice right here.
All right. So let's talk. One of the things that I deal with,
Mhm.
as a high anxiety individual, people are like, you have high anxiety, and I'm like, yeah, it manifests loudly, but it's absolutely there. And I think
Mhm.
that sometimes, like, I mean, you and I are both pretty smiley, friendly
Uh-huh.
people, and so I
Yeah.
think, like, maybe outwardly people are like, you're not an introvert, Lauren, you're not depressed, you're not anxious, and I'm like, I am crazy amazeballs, all three of those things.
Yeah.
I'm just really great at masking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm really, really great at, like, running interference around the secret inner Lauren, you know?
Mhm.
Uh, but you're kinda, actually, you know what? You're kinda, what you see is what you get. What's that like?
For the most part, I am. Yeah. There are some days where I am approaching burnout,
Yeah,
but I know that there are some things that I have to take care of before I can check out and then go take care of myself,
yeah,
which sounds like I'm crossing over the boundary. But the thing that I have to rationalize there is if I take care of it now, I don't have to worry about that thing looming over my head as I'm trying
yeah.
to get back to who I am, right? Um, for me, gosh, I don't know. It's been such a journey.
This
It's been
is
such a
so
journey.
interesting watching
Is
your
it?
mind just working
Like
away, because I'm like,
process?
I know that,
Yeah.
like, brilliant shit's happening up in there.
No, it's funny because when I went to therapy. I started therapy like 2020, 2021, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they gave me a questionnaire, and it was to see whether or not you had anxiety. And I'm like checking the thing off, and I give her the score, and she was like, "Yep." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow." But the thing is, it wasn't for me. It wasn't an oh my gosh, I'm living with anxiety. It was, oh, that explains this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, right? And that gave me another place where I could it's almost like a jumping off point, right? So
Yeah.
if I know this is where I am, what are the tools that can help me to navigate through these different things when I'm feeling anxious,
Yeah.
when I'm experiencing anxiety? So for me, and I think I've been like that since I was little, for me, understanding what I'm experiencing helps me to get back to center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being like that, being able to identify it part
Mhm.
is
It's
like
huge.
super key.
Yeah.
So you might know this, but I don't know if a whole lot of our audience knows this, but like my first significant experience with therapy was actually when I was in an inpatient rehab program
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
a chemical dependency that it's one of those things where I'm always like, I'm an addict. And I'm like, don't take that the wrong way. It's been like 23 years since,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
at any rate, like, it's always weird saying that because I'm like, don't think things. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. But at any rate, like, that was the first time that I underwent therapy. And the thing is, when you're in inpatient rehab, like, you undergo massive amounts of therapy. Like,
Mhm.
that's your whole day, every day
Mhm.
unpacking and like it was the first time that somebody had explained to me why I react the way that I do to
Yeah.
certain stimuli. Like, so just as a for instance, like, I don't like being yelled at. It makes me curl up into a ball. I feel all of my, like, I just completely check out. And it's
Mhm.
not like I don't yell back. I don't engage in like super aggressive behaviors or anything, but I just
Yeah.
like I do not deal with it well. Like, I can talk to people about hard shit all day long, but if you
Yeah.
apply volume to it, I'm just like, nope. And it's a very, like, it's a trauma response. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it's something that I have to work through. And like, it's that mental acuity thing where I have to be like, okay, this person is yelling at me. This person is like very loud, but
Yeah.
either they're not angry at me, or even if they're angry at me, this does not change who I am as a person. They are not a threat.
Absolutely.
You do not have to run. You do not have, like, you can continue to engage. And like, it's a
Mhm.
constant battle.
Yeah.
But that's the point. It's a battle. To your
Mhm.
point, I know that I'm doing it. I am
Yeah.
able to react to it better because I have identified it. And
Yeah.
then I can deploy the whatever coping strategies we learned in therapy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So yeah,
empowering.
being
It's
able to
empowering to
do it,
understand
and
it.
like, I
Mhm.
highly would, like, anybody who's watching, like, if you have the means, and if you don't, reach out. We definitely have some resources that we can point you to, but, like, if you have the
Yeah.
means to undergo therapy, please do. I think
Mhm.
everybody could benefit, like, just kinda talking through,
Everybody. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
because I feel like everybody has trauma. Everybody has
Yeah.
trauma.
I mean, we live in America, so
We
yeah.
live in America.
Yes.
We live in a country that is actively trying to butt fuck us, like, every which way. Like, sorry, excuse my French. I didn't really celebrate yesterday. I'm very mad at America right now. Please forgive me. But anyway, we have a company, or we live in a country that does not do great, that exploits its citizens, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's continuously re-traumatizing, like
Yeah.
ripping up old wounds. And
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm speaking as, like, I'm a white lady. Like, all of my intersectionality, most of it's invisible. You know,
Mhm.
we talk about we so a while back in IHKC, we had somebody post some programming about imposter syndrome, but it was a class that was specifically designated for women of color. And like, we actually had some members come in and be like, well, why does it have to just be women of color? All women deal with imposter syndrome. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but you're missing the point if you're not
Yeah.
seeing why the special somebody in the comments, I thought this was brilliant. It's not exclusivity, it's specialization. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so at any rate, like, we have discussions about this, and I it scares me how
Yeah.
people how people view our little mental picadillos. I'm like, I can't think of the word.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you got to think about the conditioning of American citizens
Yeah.
again, right? That's we're unlearning so much stuff,
Oh my God.
so much.
Yeah. We're learning
Yeah,
so
I'll
much.
just I'll leave it there. We're-
Well,
yeah.
so I want to end it, or at least I want to end this portion on like a good note. So I'm going to put some pressure on you,
Okay.
Joy Sherpa, and it is with an acknowledgement that like you may not have the spoons, and that's
Hmm.
okay. But talk to us as the Joy Sherpa. What? Well, I'm trying to think of like a good positive question. Like, talk to us about say something like positive about your mental health journey and your experience.
Mm.
I don't
I
even.
think
What do you wish
all
everybody knew?
I wish, just generally speaking, people would know or would understand that um hmm, I'm trying to narrow it down right now. There's so many things.
There's so much. I know.
Yeah. Like, how do you narrow that
So much
down?
to unpack.
Um, yeah, I just think the more you know about yourself, the easier it is to say yes to you.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way, right? And whether you're learning more about yourself through therapy or through coaching or just in connecting with your friends and family on a deeper level, connecting with yourself on a deeper level, there are all sorts of ways that you can get to know more about who you are and start to unpack who you are. And I
Yeah.
think the more you know about yourself, the easier it is for you to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback on that just a little bit because I think that I feel is that like one of the things that I've had to do. So I play a game with my husband called Real or Not Real, where
Hmm.
like if I feel like I am experiencing what would others would consider like an outsized reaction, like
Right.
I have to ask myself, are you responding to this stimuli as a rational, reasonable person, or are you responding to it as someone who is a traumatic response? And
Hmm.
I literally like I'll ask Aaron and I'll go up to him and I'll just be like, look, I feel myself getting stuck. I don't know if I like the way that I am thinking about this is that because Aaron is like one of the most mentally healthy people I know. Like it's you and him just like right up there. But and like he'll tell me, and so I feel as though it maybe even it's just in the beginning stages, but like I don't know that a lot of people are super self-aware.
Hmm.
And so sometimes like you can't just trust what yourself is telling you about yourself. Like
Hmm.
seek outside opinions, like talk to people
Absolutely.
that know and love people that love you, because there are people that don't love you that they're going to have shitty opinions about on what who you are and what you do. But like find the people that you can trust and just be like, hey, am I looking at this accurately? And that's been a game changer for me. Like
Yeah.
realizing, because for the longest time, like the trauma in my past, like I didn't even realize that it wasn't normal. I never knew any different. It was just how I
Yeah.
grew up and things that happened. And so like as I've become an adult and I'm engaged in like a very healthy romantic relationship and I have good friends around me, like people that I know, like, and trust, um, that's been a game changer for me because I can check
Yep.
myself,
Yep.
you know? And I do that sometimes. Like sometimes I do it with you where I'm just like, does that make sense? And you're like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But you'll like even on this conversation, like you were just like, hey, let's reframe the way that we just
Yeah.
said that. And it's like, that's what you need to do. Like you need to have that level of awareness and it's like constant vigilance. Like it can get
Hmm.
really tiring.
Yeah.
It can. I'm speaking to
That's
that
why
birthday.
self-care
I'm
is
just like,
important.
hey, I've done a lot of really healthy emotional work. Now I'm going to drink a margarita and watch true crime. And like, that's what's going to happen because that's what I need right now.
That's self-care.
Yeah. Self care.
That's self-care. It
Yeah.
shows up in different ways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It does show up in different ways. Speaking
Yeah.
of showing up in different ways. All right. I mean, that was like the most graceless segue I think I've ever engaged
No,
in.
that was great.
Was it? All
Yeah.
right. So speaking, all right. So what are we doing this month? And I did not write it down, but I actually think I have it internalized enough that I'm going to remember all of it. So what we have going on for the rest of the month with IHKC, we have on June 12th, nope, July.
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 Mhm.
Off to a good start.
You got it. You
On
got it.
July 12th, we're going to be down at Keystone Co Labs. That's 800 East 18th Street. We're going to be engaging in our Keystone session for the month of July, where we're going to be talking about the neurodivergent entrepreneur. We've got a panel of some experts and some folks who deal with mental disability, anxiety, distress, neurodivergence, and we're going to talk with them about things like coping strategies, a continuation to some extent of this conversation.
Is that on the 12th or the 19th?
The 12th, because the 19th is the follow-up IHKC Live.
Okay, then I need to change my calendar.
Wait a minute. Now you've said that, and now I'm double checking. Hold on. It is July. No, it's right. July 12th is the Keystone Collab.
Okay. Okay.
And then July 19th is our next IHKC Live, starting at 6 p.m. And we're going to be continuing that conversation. And then finally, on August 1st, we're having our next monthly meetup. And this is actually kind of fun. But we're going to be at Monarca Art Space, Moss, which is a studio and gallery space owned by Vanya Soto. She is one of our members. She is a Chicana artist and muralist and just super talented. But she has a gallery space and a studio space down in the West Bottoms, getting ready to celebrate their grand opening. They just moved. But we're going to check that out. We're going to check it out with Connect, which is the Young Friends of Nonprofit Connect group. Okay. So we're going to be just checking out the space with them, hanging out with them. And I don't exactly know what it's called yet. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. But I am either trying to get donations of champagne or donations of seltzer water, and we were going to have a bubbles and brushes concept, and we were going to do. But if it's champagne, I want to do cupcakes and champagne. What do you think?
All right, I like it. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe the viewers can name it.
Yes, name it, please. What are we going to name? Our next monthly meetup, August 1st, it's going to be at Monarca Art Space. I'm just recapping for folks who did, because I think I just saw some people join. But help us name it in the comments, because I have no idea what to call it. I'm like, brushes and bubbles? That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be what it's called.
You need to set a boundary with yourself, Lori.
Right. Ideas, they can't all be fixed. That one isn't terrible. But if you have a better one, this is me being self-aware. This is not me beating up on myself. But sometimes I struggle to name things.
There it is.
There you
go. If you have an idea, don't say a better one. If you have an idea, drop it in the comments.
Yeah, there you go. See? Reframing. All right. So definitely keep in touch. You can find our events. We do have an IHKC events calendar that you can subscribe to. That's on InnovateHERKC.com. We also post our events on our public Facebook page and our LinkedIn. I'm really shitty about doing it on Instagram, and I make no apologies because honestly, I just don't feel like making the graphics. I don't want to. So that's right. Boundaries. I'm going to do the things that I want to do. And if I don't absolutely have to do the things that I don't want to do, I'm not going to do them. So anyway, but keep an eye out for events. We would love to connect with you. And Cynthia, we always love connecting with you.
Yay. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
Yeah. I love your face. All right. to our audience at home, InnovateHER KC loves your face.
Absolutely. And if you love this video,
she's gonna do it.
Make sure that you drop a comment in there. If this is your first time watching, also make sure that you subscribe so that you can get notified when we have another IHKC Live. And we'll see you in the next one.
Did you